Are those consecutive? Impressive. 50 years. Debbie, I knew Paul since birth. He was the last of 4. And Paul, for the record, you were an accident. I know we have young people in here, but they need to learn about the facts of life sooner or later. Van? Well, this is my niece. Debbie, I've also known Paul when he was a virgin.
Oh my gosh.
And Paul likes TV. There's a show called Seinfeld. Anybody seen that one? And there's an episode on master of your what?
Kingdom, domain.
Domain. Yes, who said that? Very good. You win the door prize. Any door you can get off the hinge, take it off. It's yours. And I will assure you, Debbie, Paul is master of his domain. Van later is going to ask, what does that mean? But the person, Philip, you mentioned something about Paul, and he does feel comfortable with his nudity. As a brother growing up, my wife of 39 years, in fact, Cheryl, she's here tonight naturally, and we were next door neighbors. The Bible says, love thy neighbor. And we up and did. And Cheryl would come, because we're neighbors, she'd walk over to our house. And our dad, always, Cheryl was on the couch, and it was his house. He was also Paul, master of his domain. And he wore the undershirt and the boxers and black, what? Socks. But here Paul is, growing up, young, 10 years behind me, and I'm trying to think how to frame this in a semi-Christian way. But you spend a lot of time with your brothers. Now, because he's 10 years behind me, let's do the math. If he was 10, I was what?
20.
So I was off at college. He was little Bubba, okay? And I think, Paul, you were 7 pounds, 4 ounces at birth. You've put on 252 pounds since birth. Oh, is it 42? Excuse me. And you really carry it poorly. I just want to. So most of the time that Paul and I have spent together, really, he was a little kid, and it's been. He is a hunter, like our dad, and that's my vice. And so we do spend a lot of time in the woods. Okay? Have you heard the story, what bears do in the woods? Paul is exquisite at that. Carl, you know where this is going. Paul, I'm really going to be gracious. But when he feels and hears nature's call, which we have all had, okay? How many of y'all prefer an indoor restroom facility? Anybody? Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. Paul's one of these guys that, why use a good commode? God made the world. It's a giant urinal. Just this last weekend in Albany, I walk outside and find my brother. And I know, Carl, you called him Little Paul. That's put on weight. You realize I'm framing this all up here because we have young people. Coach, how am I doing? I'm keeping things. We're on a roll. So anyway, on a serious note, and you said he handled your finances. Paul, once I asked him, he kind of has a policy, and I said, Paul, hey, how can I make $1 million? And he said, give me $2 million. No, Paul's really good at putting two and two together, even if they don't go together. But he is a good guy, you know. I mean, I can think of some stuff that he did wrong besides this story that the first person told about the pedophilia incident. You know,
Pedophilia.
but she was an innocent by standard. I remember he told Joanne when that was happening, "I'll only give you 30 minutes to quit." I remember that. But I think once, I don't know what came over him. You know, Satan is really just, good. I think once I heard, I didn't document it, I didn't see it, but I think it's a legend that he tore the tag off of a pillow. And you realize it says you do not remove this under penalty of what? Law. And I think, Paul, I heard that you did that. He also, I think, is guilty of taping a professional football game without expressed written permission. I think that's also legend. So it's quite an extensive resume of what all he's done in these 50 years. I can't wait to come to your 100th party. How many would like to come back for that one? None of us will be able to talk. We'll all be in diapers if we're alive. But Paul, in all seriousness, you know, for a little Bubba, you're pretty good.
Aww.
And he is a Christian father, husband, friend, and I look forward to the next 50 years. That would be great. So, thank you for coming.